Thank you, Danielle. Good morning, Jubilee. It's so wonderful to see so many of your faces. And Mike, I like your Jubilee backdrop. It's always nice to see the space. So we welcome each other by saying hi, by waving to the squares next to us, by saying hi in the chat. And it's so great as a community to be able to see each other's faces. So if you're able to turn on your video, it really helps with the connections. We are a community and we're doing what best we can in the times of COVID to connect and to keep the main thing the main thing. So we also invite you to stick around for the chat at the breakout rooms at the end of the celebration. So today we are disrupting comfort. What you may say, I mean, we all love comfort, physical, emotional, social, and spiritual. We all love massages or relaxing in the hammock or warm summer days. Or what about the emotional and spiritual comfort of really being seen or heard and understood? Or just simply the comfort of being with like-minded folks that you consider your tribe. Those are comforts we love and we need. It's important for our nervous system regulation. But I think, especially as Americans, we can get a little too addicted to comfort. We so don't want to be uncomfortable. We end up going against our deeper natures. Like we don't have the hard but honest conversations because we don't want to deal with the difficult emotions. We ignore the homeless woman on the street because we don't want the discomfort of dealing with the unknowing of it all. We as white folks often ignore the conversation of race because we don't want the discomfort of waking up to and exposing that racism that lives in us. Or we keep eating the Mars and Nestle chocolate candy, even though it drives slave labor in Africa, because we don't want the discomfort of saying no to our kids. So one of my favorite spiritual world wizards, Swami Rama, said, part of the spiritual path is asking, can you be a little uncomfortable so that others can be more? When he talks about it, I think of whales who apparently think in terms of we rather than me, as in, are we comfortable? And even without that sort of consciousness, these days, it seems like we are being asked to make the practice of discomfort a daily practice. And for many people, this week was particularly challenging. So I want to share one of my favorite practices for discomfort. And it's this practice of not running from it, but embracing it. It's called a Tongling practice from the Buddhist tradition. And whatever it is that you're finding discomfortable, you actually breathe it uncomfortable. You actually breathe it in for the whole world and then breathe out the opposite. So yesterday I was feeling a lot of longing. And so I breathed in longing for the whole world. And then I breathed out wholeness. And it's like this alchemical practice that connects you to the whole of everything. And maybe that's what we need to do right now. We need to disrupt what is comfortable and embrace what is uncomfortable, both personally and collectively. And if we did, I wonder what would happen. Would it bring that deeper soul comfort, an awake comfort, a comfort that comes from crossing the threshold from where we know that we can only be comfortable if we're all comfortable? So that's what we're exploring today through the Via Negativa, disrupting comfort. And with that, let's release and let go.
I release and I let go. I let the spirit run my life. I am heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I release and I let go. I let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I didn't invite you to sing that, but I hope you joined in.
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah.
We didn't have the words, and I think not everyone has learned it yet.
Oh,
So could we
you
get
wanna
the
do it
words
again?
up? And,
Yeah, let's
and
get
let's
those
do
words
it
up.
again. I think we need to release and let go today.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Thanks for interrupting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need those words up there, and let's sing this thing. Yeah. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. One more time. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. Like that?
Thank you.
Like that.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
Like that. So, Yona.
Yes.
So glad you're here with us this morning.
So glad to be here for love. And thank you for that, Laura. That reminded me of an old Flintstones cartoon where they had a TV show. It was called the Hum Along Show, and it's for the people that don't know the words. But, you know, that's part of the discomfort, too, of knowing something familiar. And how many times have you heard someone sing along to a song and get the words wrong? But you kind of make it up, and you kind of find your own comfort within these things. And I think that's kind of where we're being led along the path of life. Whenever we hear a message that's given to us in the wind, it's up to us, to the individual. And sometimes whenever we hear things that we don't understand or don't want to hear, then that's when we turn on that selective, we can make it into whatever you want, like the old game of whispering in one person's ear, and by the time it gets around, you know, it just, as a collective, what we end up saying. So as we honor the directions this week, let's keep in mind, you know, sometimes that miscommunication sometimes leads us to better communication and more clearly. And so in that way, if you'll join me, and we, in your mind or wherever you are, face to the east. Oh, spirits of the east, we come to you in a good way this day. We come to you with curiosity and questions. We come to you maybe looking for an energetic or spiritual hug, because we want to embrace the warmth so that we can find the comfort. Because sometimes with this changing times and the changing colors of the woods and the mountains, the change is inevitable, and help us to receive the beauty that's being given to us in this time and to find comfort within the change. And in a good way, we ask you to continue to shine your medicine upon us and to warm our hearts and to light the path before us in a good way. Oh. Face to the south, please. Oh, spirits of the south, we come to you in a good and humble way this day. Again, we come with questions and curiosity. We come with discomfort, and we come with just wanting to be able to receive the embrace of the medicine of the water and all the living beings that support us in this way. We ask you to embrace us and to help us to cradle ourselves within ourselves so that we can move forward and resolve the mysteries and to breathe in the life. So we ask you, ancestors, to continue to nurture us in a good way to help us grow and quench our thirst. Oh. Face to the west, please. Oh, spirits of the west, well, all the ancestors that have gone before know that we come to you in a good way. We ask you to hear our voice, the echoes from the past, and we ask the Wind Nation and all those others that carry this voice that you might hear us We ask you to remind us of your love and your comfort. We ask you to remind us of the joy and the love that you saw for the future and all that you have given so that we might live this life, this generation and all the generations to come. We ask you to comfort us and to embrace us in a good way with your love and compassion and honesty. We ask you this day to fill our hearts and our spirits with that whatever it is that we can hold on to move forward, and in a good way to join you there. In a good way, I hope. Face to the north, please. Oh, spirits of the north, to all the living beings of the Wind Nation, we come to you in a good and humble way this day. We ask the questions. We ask for comfort. We ask for those things that may reveal to us that things we may not know or may not want to know, or maybe the things that we do and may be sorry that we didn't or that we do. Help us to find the balance. Help the wind to raise us and to take us to the places that only harmony and balance know. Help us to find that vibration and to invite it into each and every breath that is our spirit and soul, and our wish and our prayer and our dreams for the future. Help us to carry that voice in a good way, I hope. Now ask everyone to take one good deep breath and center into the center of yourself or your universe or whatever it is that you're connected to in that way. The whole ancestors of the universe, know that we come to you with a good and humble heart, with an open heart and an open mind, to be receptive to the answers that might bring us comfort. And if not comfort, at least quench our curiosity for the great mystery. Help us to walk this path. Help us to move past the unseen and the unknown and to embrace that darkness which we can bring light to. In a good way, we ask you to receive us in that way. In a good way.
Oh, thank you, Yona. So as we sing this next song, I really encourage you to sing this one. I always encourage you to sing. This one I think is really especially important to sing because if all you're doing is listening to the words of this song, it will land in you much differently. And I think that you may prefer to sing this one. It's important to feel a part of this one, I think, instead of having it sort of presented to you. So that's an invitation. And I also invite you to find the link in the chat to give to our virtual hunger basket as we sing this song. This is a little bit in honor of the minister of my church when I grew up, who was a huge Bob Dylan fan. He went to every concert he ever could.
Oh, where have you been, my blue-eyed son? And where have you been, my darling young one? I've stumbled on the side of 12 misty mountains. I've walked and I've crawled on 6 crooked highways. I've stepped in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a dozen dead oceans. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. And it's hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain's gonna fall.
Are we getting the words up there? Is that all working? I can't see.
Yeah, it's up. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Oh, what did you see, my blue-eyed son? Oh, what did you see, my darling young one? I saw a newborn baby with wild wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a black branch with blood that kept dripping. I saw a room full of men with their hammers a-bleeding. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 talkers whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. And it's a hard,
It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain gonna fall. And what did you hear, my blue-eyed son? And what did you hear, my darling young one? I heard the sound of a thunder, it roared out a warning. Heard the roar of a wave that could drown the whole world. Heard 100 drummers whose hands were ablazing. I heard 10,000 whispering and nobody listening. I heard one person starve, I heard many people laughing. Heard the song of a poet who died in the gutter. Heard the sound of a clown who cried in the alley. And it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain gonna fall. Oh, who did you meet, my blue-eyed son? And who did you meet, my darling young one? I met a young child beside a dead pony. I met a white man who walked a black dog. I met a young woman whose body was burning. I met a young girl, she gave me a rainbow. I met one man who was wounded in love. I met another man who was wounded in hatred. And it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain gonna fall. Oh, what'll you do now, my blue-eyed son? Oh, what'll you do now, my darling young one? I'm a-going back out for the rain starts a-falling. I'll walk to the depths of the deepest black forest, where the people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their waters, where the home in the valley meets the damp, dirty prison, where the executioner's face is always well hidden, where the hunger is ugly, where the souls are forgotten, where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'll tell it and think it and speak it and breathe it and reflect it from the mountains so all souls can see it. Then I'll stand on the ocean until I start sinking, but I'll know my song well before I start singing. And it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain gonna fall. It's a hard rain gonna fall. Is it my turn to introduce somebody or something?
It is. Thank you, Danielle. That's beautiful. Shannon.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Oh, wait, she's going to.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Shannon.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you want to introduce her? Or?
I know that there's this person, Shannon Spencer, who does this really cool stuff to help people eat, which is a wonderful response to that song. So
I'll take that.
All right. Go with it.
Thank y'all for letting me be a part of the gathering this morning. It's been a gift. I'm at home with my two daughters, and so time to center and to pray and to just be grounded in a community has, even these last 15 minutes, has been a gift. So thank you. Just to give you a little background, first, I want the context of these next couple of minutes to be a context of gratitude. I am deeply grateful for the community of Jubilee. and for the many ways that you continue to present yourselves in the community as followers of the way of justice, followers of the way of peace and love. And I have seen that most recently in the ways that you have helped Asheville Poverty Initiative, which is the nonprofit that I get to be a part of, help make sure that 65 folks who are being sheltered at the Red Roof Inn are getting fed 3 meals a day. When this pandemic happened, Asheville Poverty Initiative, Homeward Bound, and the city of Asheville really started to wrap our brains around how do we care for those most vulnerable, those on the margins who are truly susceptible to this virus, in large part because they don't have access to good health care, they don't have access to good hygiene, and oftentimes they are living in close quarters. So should one person become exposed, it was going to be a virus that spread and spread very quickly. And so through our partnership, we were able to coordinate with Hannah's Cherokee Center to house up to 50 folks. And then we quickly realized that trying to keep 50 folks who are accustomed to being outside and having a little independence was not the best for their mental health. And so then we began to reach out to hotels to where folks could actually have rooms where they could come and go and not have to be sequestered only inside to maintain access to the gift of shelter and food. And so since March, we have been working with faith communities and volunteers and local restaurants to make sure that all 65 who are being sheltered have 3 square meals a day. So almost 1,350 meals a week. Asheville Poverty Initiative is coordinating, while Homeward Bound is actually doing the staffing at the hotel. And the city of Asheville is working with FEMA to help fund the housing there. The big umbrella picture, the big vision of all of this, which is really exciting, and not to dismiss the immediate relief that this is providing, but this is giving the case management at Homeward Bound tremendous access and stabilization, so that the hope is that when this ends, those 65 people will not return to the streets. They will actually return to housing. As you can imagine, trying to access people on the streets can be difficult when paperwork and interviews and all of that it works on a deadline. And so trying to find people and where are they, where are they sleeping, where are they accessing their resources. Oftentimes people lose housing because the case managers can't find them because they've had to go where they needed to go. And so this is giving them extraordinary access and stabilization to be able to do that. So fingers crossed, prayer hands lifted, good love and energy out there. What we have entered into is truly a working model for what we can continue to do if we share the resources that we have. And as the introduction early on, if we are all willing to be just a little bit uncomfortable so that everybody can be a bit more comfortable, we know that that abundance that the universe provides is truly present, and we get to participate in making sure that everyone has equitable access to it.
Yay, good work.
So thank y'all. Y'all help make that work happen.
Thank you. This
Yes.
sounds like there's some blessings that have come out of this in some ways.
It's a gift. It's a gift. It's like everything else. The spirit moves in darkness and in light, and we get to be open to the way that is and grab on. And that's what we're doing.
Okay.
That's great.
So thank y'all.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Diving into the discomfort. That's what service is all about. So thank you guys again with the Asheville Poverty Initiative. So greetings from Delaware. It's a little far away from from Jubilee, but Jubilee again is a verb and not a place. And in fact, there's many of us here right now that are from many places, not in Asheville. So I'm here to do some uncomfortable stuff. And a friend of mine reminded me the other day that it's a choice. I don't have to do it. I could do it all remotely. And, love is hard. But love compels us to do hard things sometimes, to dive into that choice. Sometimes we choose to be uncomfortable. I mean, we love scary movies. Well, some of us do. We love a hard puzzle to solve. We love challenges, but that we know that we can get out of. But in our culture, sometimes we like to make sure that our comfort is a zone that has us covered on all sides. So that's why we have to talk about in the Via Negativa, disrupting it. And it seems like 2020 is doing a good job of disrupting ours. And I hope that we take this time this year to learn the most about why it should be disrupted. So I invite you, as we go inward, to think about what's in this for me. What's in this disruption of my comfort zone, of my world of patterns and cycles, to teach me, to grow me, to expand me. And especially driven to what Jackie said about Tongling, about facing and leaning into the discomfort. Breathe deeply. Warren is at Jubilee right now, receiving your prayers at the Western Wall as our friends in the chat. Breathing in. How do we live in this moment? Breathing out. I don't know yet. Breathing in again. How do I live in this moment? Breathing out. I may not know, but I'm surrounded by loving people who are working on the same question. It's what community is all about. Oh yeah.
So I invite you to sing again. Always invited to sing. Why not? It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can
every one of us by and by. So now's a good time to just put a little note in the chat to somebody that you see up there, or somebody whose name you see up there, or just greet each other and share a little love. It's in every one of us. I just remembered, it's like I've been sleeping for years. I'm not awake as I can be, but my seeing's better. I can see through the tears. I am realizing that I bought this ticket and watching only half of the show. There are scenery and lights and a cast of thousands who all know what I know, and it's good that it's so. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us by and by. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It is. It is, it is. So now we get to have a gift of the Jubilee Singers again. Terry has been doing some amazing work to make all this possible. So thanks, Terry Sandoval. You go.
It's my pleasure. Good morning, Jubilee. So you may remember that in the spring, we were doing all virtual choir videos. And then the last couple of videos, we've been blessed to be able to use the Hazel Robinson Amphitheater in Montford Recreation Complex that's cared for by the Montford Park Players. And so this week, we have most of us live at Montford Park, but we have one of us joining virtually. So I have we have a hybrid experience today, and we'll likely have some more of that for the next couple of gifts. So here we go. I hope you will enjoy this little gospel-y piece by Marty Haugen called Plenty of Bread to Share.
Plenty of bread at the feast of life. Plenty of bread to share. Plenty of bread at the feast of life. There is plenty of bread to share. Bread for every hungry
So we on Wednesday night were recording just as the sun was setting. So you may have noticed in the background we had such lovely color. And Jackie will be posting some of the information and the lyrics for you in the chat so you can catch everything we were singing. And good morning.
Yeah. Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Jubilee Singers, for the effort. And you know, it's wonderful to sit here and listen. That, you know, there's plenty to share. And, you know, part of the sharing is in order for the people to receive as well. And a lot of mention has been made about community and disrupting comfort. So instead of going straight into the reading that I'm here to do this morning, and thank you, Daniel, for the reminder this morning that it's important for us as a community not to take for granted what's being offered here in this virtual realm, in this Zoom gathering of our community, that, you know, we come in with an idea of how we can move forward. And it's important for us to hear the words instead of going through the bulletin and saying, oh, this happens next and this happens next, and it becomes rote. It becomes this practice behavior instead of this spontaneous moment. So instead of starting or ending with this, how about this is ancient wisdom and holy word. Thanks be to all that is wise and holy. All creation is wisdom and holy word. All creation sings of wisdom and God. Hallelujah. You lie on the beds adorned with ivory and lounge in your couches. You dine on choice lambs and fattened calves. You strum away on your harps like David and improvise on musical instruments. You drink wine by the bowlful and use the finest lotions, but you do not grieve over the ruin of Joseph. Therefore, you will be among the first to go into exile. Your feasting and lounging will end. And that's from Amos chapter 6, verses 4 through 7. And this quote from Khalil Gibran, verily, the lust for comfort murders the passion of the soul, and then walks grinning into the funeral. And from Rumi, the breezes at dawn have secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. And again, this is ancient wisdom and holy word. Thanks be to all that is wise and holy. All creation is wisdom and holy word. All creation sings of wisdom and God. Hallelujah. So let's take time to really listen, guys, and to really appreciate what's being offered, not only with Jackie and Daniel and Shannon coming in and speaking on behalf of the community needs, but all of us, and especially with Jay and everything. Let's really listen to what's being said and what's really being shared, and we as a community to completely receive in that way so that we might go share as well. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Yona. And thank you, everyone, this morning. Plenty to share. And a hard rain's a-coming. A lot of messages. So yesterday, the Jubilee board and staff met for a half-day morning retreat. Now, to be COVID safe, we met outdoors and we were socially distanced. And you may have noticed that yesterday morning was the coldest so far this fall. We arrived in our long johns and our stocking caps with thermoses of hot beverages and blankets to sit under. So if retreats are supposed to be comfy events, then your board and staff disrupted their comfort to do the work of leading Jubilee. You're welcome. Actually, the weather was only one of the ways that we disrupted our comfort. We took time to get kind of touchy-feely. Well, you know, not actually touchy because COVID, but to dip into our unresolved feelings about this past year. Because let's face it, out of Jubilee's 31 years, this past one was not the easiest. We began with Brene Brown's advice in her book, Dare to Lead, that good leadership involves vulnerability. And vulnerability kind of, well, sucks. As Brene says, embrace the suck. So that was our guiding theme. And a funny thing happened. The morning didn't suck. How often have we avoided something uncomfortable only to find that not facing it became equally or even more uncomfortable? 2020, as we've been noting throughout this message today, is asking us to face lots of discomfort. We're being asked to live in uncomfortable ways, not hugging our friends, not singing and dancing together, not touching our elderly loved ones. I hate it. I long for a night on a packed, humid dance floor with everyone singing at the top of their lungs, where you can see the sweat and the spit flying off the musicians on the stage. You remember those days? I wonder if I'll ever take a night like that for granted again. Maybe I will, because it's easy to go back to sleep. In the midst of this physical communal discomfort, we're confronted with all these hard conversations about race, about climate, about democracy, about health and health care, about whose lives matter. Do Black lives matter? Do elderly lives matter? Do the lives of ancient forest matter? Are the lives of our homeless neighbors matter? Do the communities on the Gulf Coast matter? Who decides? When COVID someday, we might imagine, is under control and the next election is behind us, will we remember how important these conversations have been this year? Or will we try to slip back into a sleepy comfort with the way things are or were, or maybe never really were? Angel Kyoto Williams, an ordained Zen priest who is also a Black activist and author, calls 2020 year one. She says that since 2019 marked 400 years of enslavement and oppression of Black and brown-skinned people on this continent, this year, 2020, is year one. Time to start over. When I heard her say that, something in my soul leapt up. In a year that has felt like the end of so many things, can we imagine it as a beginning? Maybe democracy is not ending. Maybe it's just being born. Maybe the founding vision of this nation is finally ready to be made manifest. Maybe we are ready to make amends. Maybe we can acknowledge, as we do with Yona's directions each week, that the land we sit on is Cherokee land. Maybe. But only if we are willing to stay uncomfortable. I got into my car yesterday after the retreat and I was sort of thinking to myself, okay, Laura, time to shift gears and go back and finish your message about disrupting comfort. And right as I started the car, the radio was on and the program came on, and I hear a woman saying, so we've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's like, thank you, universe. It turns out that the program was a program about climate change and how any talk of incremental change is just so last year. The woman was speaking as a grandmother, and she said the gift of being a grandmother is that it's not about her comfort anymore. Future generations are depending on her willingness to get uncomfortable. Future generations. Sometimes when the present moment feels uncomfortable, we need to enlarge our understanding of time. For example, if you represent the 4.5 billion years of this planet's history as a single 24-hour period, each hour represents 187.5 million years. That's each hour. Each minute represents 3.125 million years. So in this 24-hour period of our planet's history, mammals didn't appear until the last half hour, and humans arrived in the last 5 seconds. All of human history in 5 seconds. Perspective. Humility. There's a story about an old farmer who had a mare to help him with his work on his farm. And one day the mare broke through the fence and ran away. And the neighbors heard about it and they came over to the farmer and they said, "Oh, what bad luck this is. You don't have a horse during planting season." And the farmer said, "Bad luck, good luck, who knows?" A few days later, the mare returned, bringing several stallions with her. When the neighbors heard about this, they ran over to the farmer and said, "Look at this, you're wealthy now. What good luck." And the farmer said, "Good luck? Bad luck? Who knows?" A few days later, the farmer's son was out trying to get one of these stallions tamed, and he got thrown off the horse and broke his leg. When the neighbors heard about this, they came running to the farmer again. Planting season, and now there's no one to help you. That is truly bad luck." And the farmer said, "Bad luck? Good luck? Who knows?" Well, the very next day, the emperor's army rode through town and conscripted all the able-bodied sons of every family. Only the farmer's son with his broken leg remained at home. Here come the neighbors. And now they're crying. "Yours was the only son that was not taken from his family and sent to war. What good luck you have." And the farmer said, "Good luck? Bad luck? Who knows?" I love this farmer's ability to admit that maybe he didn't have the big picture. Maybe the whole story hadn't been told yet. Maybe he couldn't see how things were unfolding. Maybe something else was yet to be revealed. Perspective. Humility. When we can find that mental freedom to understand that we don't have the whole picture, that we aren't seeing everything yet, that we don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, then we might also gain the freedom to trust that there is a source at work that is moving history in the direction of the good. In that moment of bad luck, it doesn't feel that way. But as Dr. King famously said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. What we may forget, however, is that bending toward justice is uncomfortable. Bending requires us to stretch. I've had some shoulder issues over the past year, and as a result, I'm not able to do some of the simple yoga stretches that I used to do regularly. And the less I do them, the harder they become. Movements that didn't even used to feel like stretches to me now feel strenuous and painful. And because they're uncomfortable, I tend to avoid them, which allows me to avoid the discomfort of that moment, only to find a week later, I'm even less flexible. Stretching keeps our bodies moving the way that they are designed to do. The more stagnant we allow our joints to become, the harder it is to get them moving again. The same is true for our hearts and our minds. Sometimes when we feel that stretch of a painful conversation, a difficult decision, a challenging action, we decide it's too uncomfortable and we'd rather get back on the couch. But if we do that for too long, the part of our soul that responds with compassion begins to atrophy. We're seeing some of that soul atrophy mirrored to us in the world this year. Collectively, especially those of us with privilege, have opted for the couch with lots of hard conversations and harder follow through. And 2020 is like this personal trainer that shows up to kick us off the couch and into shape. Amos, the prophet, was like that personal trainer to Israel. He brings the news that God is angry with the way God's own people have ignored the poor and failed to do justice. They've been enriching themselves at the expense of their neighbors. And that's when we hear the words that Yona shared today. You lie on your beds adorned with ivory. You lounge on your couches. You dine on choice lambs and fattened calves. You drink wine by the bowlful. You use the finest lotions, but you do not grieve over the ruin of Joseph. You do not grieve. Off the couch, people of God, Amos is saying, time's up on your inability to grieve for injustice. I am going to put you through some grieving boot camp. What if this grieving boot camp we're in is year one, as Angel Kyoto says? I've spent a fair amount of time in my life around 12-steppers, and I appreciate how those with some sobriety under their belt can talk about how freaking uncomfortable it was in that first year of sobriety to actually have to feel their feelings. Could God be calling America to get sober? It's always tempting to go back to sleep. But Rumi reminds us, the breezes at dawn have secrets to tell us. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. America, these winds of changes you are feeling, these hard rains, have secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. White folks, these winds of changes we are feeling have secrets to tell us. Don't go back to sleep. Jubilee, even us, these winds of change that we've been feeling, they have secrets to tell us. Don't go back to sleep. Let these wake-up calls disrupt your comfort. Let the personal trainer of 2020 kick you off the couch. The angels and the ancestors are calling us. Don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep.
Thank you, Laura. Such a powerful message again today. So one of the ways that Jubilee doesn't go back to sleep, and one of the ways that we step into discomfort, is we do a lot within the community to step into those places. So that's what Jubilee in Action is about. But we're starting with the ask first, just to give you time. So one of the things that happens at Jubilee is that we show up. And we can only show up here because people continue to give to Jubilee. They continue to fulfill their pledge and give to the basket and give to the bowl at the end of the celebration. So that's what we're doing. If we're in this celebration room, we'd be holding hands, we'd be passing the bowl around, and we'd be throwing in money to support this amazing place where we find inspiration and hope in community. So there's some links in the chat where you can ask or where you can give. And in the meantime, we're going to give you a little update with the Project 144. Patrick's going to tell us about what's going on with that project. I believe he is.
There I go.
Okay.
Morning, Jackie, and everyone. So, over the last several weeks, we've been in a much new fundraising idea called the 144 Project, which involves you choosing a number between 1 and 144 that resonates with you. It's your lucky number or responds to some year in your history or something that's important to you, and then donating the number of dollars associated with that number. For example, if your number was 29, you would donate $29. And we have had a lot of numbers chosen. We really appreciate everyone's participation. And you might be thinking, oh man, I waited too long and I didn't have a chance to choose my favorite number. But you're wrong. You can still do that. You can choose your number today, and you can go to the link that's in the newsletter and choose your number, or you can just go straight to the address you see here and make your donation. And I'd also like to remind folks, we've had about half the folks who have chosen numbers not do step number 2, which is to actually make the donation. So we'd like to encourage you to complete the process and go to this address and make your donation, or to any of the other options we have for giving at Jubilee, including the texting method, your app, or going to our website. So please complete the process and make your 144 donation so we can conclude this project by the end of October. Now, some of you may have actually forgotten what number you've chosen. In fact, I've had a couple of people come to me and say, I forgot what number, including our forgetful minister, Laura Collins, who said, what number did I choose? And so a reminder is one that she, in fact, was number 29, which I'm sure she chose based on her age. So maybe you want to use that same methodology to choose your number and choose your age. But anyway, please, if you haven't chosen a number, please do so today. And if you have chosen a number but not made your donation, please complete the process and help Jubilee keep on keeping the main thing. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you to every single one of you who has participated in this project. So here are some Jubilee in Action items. Last week, we heard from Kate Pett, and right now there are families that are living in public housing that want to move into private rentals and have the financial assistance to do so, but there are not enough landlords who know about the landlord-tenant partnership. And it's a way of really creating more equity throughout Asheville. So Thrive Asheville has a landlord-tenant partnership that empowers families living in public housing communities to choose safer, more resourced neighborhoods. And they also provide support for landlords. So they only need 20 more landlords. And I know there's a lot of landlords out there in this community. So if you want to get involved with that, check out Thrive Asheville. Also, we heard about how Jubilee is continuing to support Homeward Bound and those folks in the Red Roof Inn. So if you want to get more involved with that, go ahead and email me at jldobrinska@gmail.com. We're also wanting ways to connect more as a community outside of Zoom and even be on more things on Zoom. So we want to know how you want to do that. So one way to do that is just chat. So put some of your ideas in the chat. I'm really tongue-tied today. Sorry about that. So put some of your ideas in the chat. We also have these forms. One is ideas of what you might be interested in doing and want to see how many people are interested in what. So, forms can be fun. It's like 3 minutes. So go ahead and fill that out. And if you want to host something, let us know. You can either email me or there's this form that you can fill out as well. That makes it really easy, but or efficient to manage, but you can just email me as well. The Jubilee Board is also looking for a board member to fulfill the remainder of someone's term. So it's just 9 months. We're looking for someone with financial management or law background. If you're interested in the position, which hopefully is just so much fun into the future, please contact Nancy Ellington or Bill Byrne. Their emails in the chat. Jubilee also got a Google ad grant for $10,000, and we're looking for someone to volunteer to manage that. It could be a retired ad executive or a new graduate who wants to build a portfolio. If you're interested, go ahead and email Michelle. It's in the chat as well. Roger Helm of our Earth team is doing an amazing presentation on Earth in Awe. It will be looking at the amazing beauty and power of animals and landscapes in Antarctica, Africa, Nepal, and the Pacific Islands. That's half of it. The other half is looking at the human-driven climate change and the impact it's having on the world and what individuals and governments can do. And that starts in November. And lastly, voting. We're still really making sure that we all have voting plans, that we're getting out to vote. And many of us have voted by absentee ballot. There's a way to double check that your ballot is being processed. There's a link in the chat for you to check that out. So there's lots more going on, but that's Jubilee in action for today. So with that, we will dedicate our gifts.
Thank you, Jackie. And I would just love to invite people to look for ways to do phone banks to get out the vote. It's like whatever we can do over the next 2 or 3 weeks to get out the vote it matters. Because we are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Jubilee, for showing up and for showing your gorgeous faces this morning so that we can feel connected to each other. Thank you for the kids jumping on the couches and the dogs and cats walking through the pictures. Thank you for those of you who braved being outside so we can feel a little bit of the outside. Thank you, Warren, for being there in the space with the beautiful candles lit on the western wall. So now we leave this community on Zoom, but we stay connected. We stay connected as the community of Jubilee. We stay connected as people of God. We stay connected as people of justice. We stay connected as people of heart. And so as Jackie reminded us at the beginning of the beautiful practice of Tonglen, we breathe in anything that is difficult. And we know that it's not difficult only for us, but there are many, many people and places in the world feeling difficulty. And we breathe it down into our heart and out our heart into the world covered in love. Go in peace and enjoy the breakout rooms. They're really fun. Bye, everybody.
Get those words up for this.
Yes. Oh. Oops. Sorry.
We'll just do it for those of you who are still here.
Yeah, we'll sing. I'll sing with you, Daniel. Sorry about that.
Gifts from you to me, gifts to bless our dreams, gifts from me to you. Gifts keep moving through, it's the river of love, and it flows on through. We're the river of love, let it wash through you. It's the river of
You do this yourself if you want
love,
to, by the way.
and it flows on through. We're the river of love, let it wash through you. Oh yeah, I'm going to breakout room 1.
Sorry about that.
That's where I'm headed.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everybody.